Welcome to week 15 of the Tim and Chuck Show, a special state championship edition, Chuck. We're here talking about Wayne Trace making it to the big game, D6 on Friday, taking on number one Kirtland. What a matchup.
Yeah, title hopes on the line, and you look at it, Wayne Trace has everybody back with the exception of one or two kids from last year's team that didn't make the playoffs. So if they would have made the playoffs last year, you might be looking at back-to-back title games for them.
Yeah, we've talked about that all year, Chuck. 9-1, didn't get in, 9-1, got in, and now look where they are.
Yeah.
Facing the number one team in the state.
Exactly. Got the work cut out for them, see who puckers up on Friday.
Yeah, well, talking about Kirtland, this is their third straight trip to a state championship game. Beat Coldwater 2 years ago in D5. Yep. Lost to them last year in D5. Yep. They're down to 6. Coldwater's still playing for a D5 title. Don't have to worry about them anymore. But they've got a challenge in Wayne Trace.
Yeah, they sure do. And they're going to have to slow down Wayne Trace's offense. And you look at the scores all year long. Kirtland's been putting up 50, 60 points a game. Wayne Trace, 50, 60 points a game. At some point in time, we talk about it every week, you got to get a stop on defense. You got to make somebody punt the ball.
Well, Kirtland gets to the state championship game, Chuck, off a 10-7 win over Bishop Ready last week, in which they kicked a late field goal to win that. Talk about emotional getting to this game.
Exactly. And the way they wanted it was tied late in the game. They got a turnover, got a couple plays, send their babyface kicker out there, and he drills it. All the pressure in the world was on that young man, but he nailed the game winner.
Yeah, from what I read, he never played football before, and he came from the soccer team. Their regular kicker got hurt. He comes out and takes him to the state championship game with one boot.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's pressure.
Yeah, obviously Kirtland is doing something right to get to 3 straight state championship games. What's going on over there?
Yeah, you talk all the time. Football is one of the ultimate team sports, and to be a successful team, you got to bond together. And I was reading earlier that Coach Laverde's wife, after that last-second game winner, she went out to the store at 2 a.m., bought a bunch of groceries, and had more than 50 kids over at their house. The teammates, brothers, all sorts of people, just had them over for breakfast, and they just bonded. That's a big part of football, is just coming together and bonding like that.
Well, the game's Friday, 11 a.m. at Canton's Fawcett Stadium. Let's talk about some keys. What will be the key for Wayne Trace? Maybe starting defensively, which we have said all year doesn't really get the pub it deserves.
Exactly, and this week again, they're going to have to stop the run. You look at what Kirtland's been able to do. Their running game just motors that offense along, and it's not just their stud running back and the Kukura kid. Every week there's somebody else that steps up for him. So Wayne Trace isn't just going to have to stop him, in his 2,500 yards this year, but they're going to have to stop somebody else along the way too.
Yeah, 27 touchdowns for the Kukura kid, 2,500 yards. Adam Hess, 1,300 yards and 19 TDs. That's a couple of big time rushers.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it comes to those guys in the front line. Wayne Trace's defensive line has been playing so well all year long. They just need to keep doing what they're doing. They're big, strong guys that can move side to side, and if they can do that, let those linebackers flow the football, they should be all right.
Well, how about offensively? It sounds like that this Kirtland team isn't, big, but they're very athletic and very strong.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about that all the time too. When you're dealing with a team like Wayne Trace that has 4, 5, 6 guys that they can get the ball to, what are you going to do? Are you going to try to drop into a zone like a lot of teams have done, drop 8 to 11 guys and try to cover everybody, or are you going to pick your poison? If you got a couple athletes and you can take away Showalders and Gerbers and those kind of guys, then if you've got the athletes to do it, that's a good game plan too.
Well, you talked about it. Both of these teams that put up huge numbers all year. Is this the type of game that turns into a shootout? And like we said, the defense, someone's got to make one stop here and one stop there.
Exactly. You got to play some defense and you got to make somebody punt. But for the fans, a shootout. You look at it, they 130 points maybe if these teams score what they've been averaging all year. But football purists, maybe it'll be another 10-7 game. And if it comes down to a 10-7 game, Wayne Trace might be in trouble. They don't kick a lot of extra points. In fact, they always go for 2. So I think a shootout plays into Wayne Trace's hands, one, because of the offense and the athletes that they have. A close game, I don't know, it's anybody's.
Yeah, I guess that kind of is maybe a big question for Wayne Trace. You're talking about a Kirtland team, like we said, that is playing in its 3rd straight state championship. Yeah. You got guys with experience, know how to do this in the playoffs. This is Wayne Trace's first time ever to a state championship game. This is the first time a GMC team has played for the state championship since, Ayersville in 87?
Yeah, decades.
Yeah.
So and I said it earlier, who's going to pucker up first? If you're Wayne Trace, you have nothing to lose. They're the number one team. Everybody's looking at them. Man, just go out and play ball, play loose, play fast. That's the best thing you can do. If you're Kirtland, you've been there, you've done that. So there shouldn't be any pressure on them too because they've been in that arena before.
Yeah, I think that's what's I think is going to make that game exciting because you just never know what's going to happen in a state championship atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. And you see it time and time again. Teams come in that are all bloated up, listening to what everybody's talking about them, and they walk out, and the other team is just getting down to business. And Coach Laverty down there at Kirtland, he doesn't talk about state titles. He says, I don't talk about winning a championship, winning a title. I look every week at what we have to do to get better. What do we have to do to get better from last week? What do we have to do to get better from 2 weeks ago? And that's a really great philosophy. It helps keep everybody focused on the task at hand because you can't think about raising that trophy because you got to play four more quarters to get that.
Yeah. Again, talking about the GMC, getting another shot at a state championship for the first time in a long time. Can you just maybe talk about what that would mean to Wayne Trace, to this area, and especially to the GMC?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. What it does for a league is, one, it gets you some statewide respect. A lot of times, Northwest Ohio, we're sort of overlooked. We're not Cleveland, we're not Cincinnati, and people don't think that we can play football up here. But teams like Wayne Trace making long runs like this really shows the quality of football that we do have. And you look around at what it'll do for the other schools. I know out at Ayersville, Coach Dales is getting all the football players out of class, and we're all going to sit and watch that championship game at 11 o'clock on Friday. So that's really big, not just for Wayne Trace and their fans. It's big for everybody in the league.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be great support from Northwest Ohio for Wayne Trace this weekend. Well, that's what we have for Week 15, our final week of the Tim and Chuck Show. Good luck to Wayne Trace this weekend. Hopefully they can bring it home. We'd like to thank everyone for watching. It's been a great year. We'd like to thank our partner, Rose Insurance, for sponsoring the Collision of the Week. It just was great to be back this year, Chuck.
Yeah, another great football season. Anytime you can strap on the party hats and step between the white lines, it's a good day for me, so that's great.
Yeah. We will see you next year.